be seized upon by Beardsley.
Hi there. Welcome once again on to Ralph on VAR, your favorite sports channel here on YouTube. And as you know, this is our 4th episode since we started. So if you are new here, you're welcome. And if you have already been here for a while, watch some of our episodes in the past, you are also welcome once again onto this channel. So on this channel, we do more football analysis, post-game, pre-game analysis. We talk about interviews by some of the managers, some of the players after the game as well. We also do a bit of banter and then trolling here and there because, yes, football can never be interesting without banter. So it could be a good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, depending on where you are watching from. And you are welcome on this channel. If you are new to this channel, all you have to do is to like this current content, subscribe to the page, share so that the community can grow, so that as we keep growing the community, we have more viewers worldwide. This content is proudly sponsored by Velida Rose Realty. So Velida Rose Realty is an expert when it comes to real estate business here in the SDG area. If you are looking to relocate to the SDG area, that's the Stormont Dundas or Glengarry area. If you're a senior, if you're a prospective new home buyer and you are looking to relocate into this area, I'm going to recommend Velida Rose Realty for you. She has all the expert advice she can give you in purchasing that dream home of yours. So you can reach her on 416-317-577. On 416-317-577. Just give her a call and then she's going to provide you with all the services you need in terms of acquiring your new home. Okay, so on this episode, because we are limited on time, we are going to make it a bit snappy. Yes, so we are going to delve into a post-game analysis of the UEFA Champions League games that happened during the midweek. We had some games on Wednesday, and then on Thursday. That was yesterday. And we also delve into the game week coming on starting from tomorrow across Europe. That is in England, in Spain, in France, and then in Italy, and then some other leagues in Europe. So we are going to begin with a post-game analysis, but we are not going to touch on all the games. Yes, if you watched the previous episode, we did talk about some predictions. We did look at how some of the games were going to go, and I predicted PSV winning against Union SG, but unfortunately Union SG were able to pip PSV over there. So Union SG went away to win 3-1 against PSV back in the Netherlands. And Athletic Bilbao also lost at home to Arsenal Football Club. Yes, Athletic Bilbao, with the absence of Nico Williams, couldn't pull the strings on Arsenal. So Arsenal were able to win that game against Athletic Bilbao in Spain. That was 2-0. Goals courtesy Martinelli and then Trossard in that game. Juventus also drew 4-4. So there was a stalemate in that game. It was a scoring draw. That is 4-4 for Juventus and Dortmund. I did predict Juventus to win that game, but unfortunately, it couldn't go the way of Juventus. It ended in a 4-4. Most of the goals came in the second half, so the second half was where the goals started to flow. And if you watch that game, it was a very interesting game. If you're a neutral and you love football, that should be a game you would have enjoyed. Tottenham Hotspur won at home to Villarreal. That game ended in a win for Tottenham Hotspur at home, and that goal came in the early stages of the game, very early, and it was an own goal on the part of one of the Villarreal players. And after that, Tottenham Hotspur weren't able to score any more goal. But for this being the first outing for Thomas Frank in Europe and then getting a win, I think that is a very good result for Tottenham Hotspur. So that's a prediction that I did get right, even though I predicted so many goals to be scored in that game. And then also Real Madrid winning 2-1 against Olympique de Marseille. So I did predict Real Madrid to win this game. They did get a red card in that game, but they still were able to edge it against Olympique de Marseille. 2-1, that's a very respectable scoreline there for Real Madrid against Olympique de Marseille. So Xabi Alonso once again grabbing a win. That's 100% record for him since he arrived at the Bernabeu. And then also Benfica losing to Karabakh. That was a shocking result. I would say that's a shocking result in the game week 1 of the UEFA Champions League, where Benfica lost at home to Karabakh. They did score 2 goals, but sat back for Karabakh to equalize and then get a winner in that game. So, and after the game, they have let go of their manager, Bruno Lage, and there is a special manager in the person of the special one, Jose Mourinho. So, going forward, we are going to see an epic encounter between Chelsea and Benfica. I think that game is going to happen on September 30th in the Champions League, where Chelsea will be facing Benfica at Stamford Bridge, and Jose Mourinho returning to the Stamford Bridge once again. It's going to be an emotional one, and that's a game we are going to look at in the future. On Wednesday, we had Olympiacos drawing to 0-0 against Paphos. Paphos had a red card in that game, but Olympiacos couldn't win in Greece. That's surprising over there. Slavia Prague also drew 2-2 against Bodo Glimt. And then also Ajax losing at home to International Milan. So I predicted Ajax to win this game because I thought they had the youthful players, the younger players, and the players of International Milan are old, they are aging. Henceforth, I predicted Ajax to win, but they couldn't win that game in Netherlands. Then we also have PSG winning 4-0 against Atlanta. Yes, that was a straight call for me. As I said, PSG were going to win, and by a huge margin, which they did do at the Parc de France. And Liverpool winning 3-2 against Atletico Madrid. This was also a very interesting game. A red card to Atletico Madrid in the person of Diego Simeone, their manager, because during the dying embers of the game, tempers flew up, and boy, oh boy, David Simon always is, if you know him very well, yes, you will not be surprised he got a red card. But sometimes, the euphoria around the game was what led to him getting the red card, and then how they conceded in the last minute of the game. That's why this red card came about. So sometimes it's understandable, but I think Liverpool will have to look at their defense going forward, because it seems all the time they are conceding goals, and even apart from that, if they are winning, it comes in the dying embers of games. So if they go meet a team that is outscoring them, that's going to be a problem. So Ancelotti will have to look at probably if it's changing the personnel, which they cannot do for now because the transfer season is closed. But they can maybe, if it's the shape, or they can bring in some players from the academy and start grooming them. Maybe there might be a change over there. So Bayern Munich also at the Allianz Arena won 3-1 against Chelsea. Yes, my own team Chelsea lost 3-1 to Bayern Munich, and I predicted Bayern Munich to win that game, but I thought it was going to be a close call in terms of the score. Maybe even if they are going to score 3, Chelsea might score 2. But unfortunately, Chelsea couldn't match Bayern Munich in that game. There were some defensive blunders on the part of Chelsea, with an own goal coming from Trevor Chalobah, a penalty conceded, and oh boy. So yes, I knew that it was going to be very difficult for Chelsea. I knew it was going to be very difficult for Chelsea, but I thought that maybe because of the tactical aspect that their coach comes in with, that is Enzo Maresca, because of how tactical he was, probably he could mastermind a draw or even a win against Victor Kompany, who is fairly new when it comes to coaching. But I knew Bayern Munich were going to win that game, and they didn't prove me wrong. They did win that game, so there's nothing surprising over there, even though I was rooting for Chelsea to win as my team. And then just yesterday, we had Club Brugge winning 4-1 against Monaco, which I predicted Club Brugge to win. Leverkusen drawing away 2-2. You have Frankfurt winning. I think they were the big winners in there. They won by 5-1 against Galatasaray. Galatasaray didn't have Victor Osimhen in that game. You have Sporting Lisbon winning 4-1 at home. You have Newcastle losing at the St. James's Park 2-1 to Barcelona. Yes, I did predict a win or a draw for Newcastle, but it didn't happen. Yeah, Barcelona just proved to them that they are very good when it comes to Champions League. They have been there before. They know how to rub shoulders with the big boys. So Newcastle, they are fairly new. I think this is their third or fourth outing in Europe, and Barcelona just used the experience of playing in Europe for consistently over the years to outshine Newcastle over there, with goals coming from Marcus Rashford, yeah, the newborn Marcus Rashford. For some reason, uh, ex-players of Manchester United, when they move into new teams, they do very well. But in Manchester United, it seems the environment in there is not helping them. But once they move into new teams like the likes of Marcus Rashford, Scott McTominay, Anthony, Alejandro Garnacho, who I'm also rooting to do very well tomorrow against Manchester United, you realize that they move out of Old Trafford and then they are doing very well. So 2 goals coming from Marcus Rashford for Barcelona in that game, and a late goal coming from Anthony Gordon. And then finally, Man City winning to Newcastle at the Etihad Stadium. So 2 goals for Man City, Erling Haaland getting a goal in that game. And that was, I predicted Napoli to win that game, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So Manchester City, yes, they, with Pep Guardiola and his men, were able to edge it over Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte hasn't been too good when it comes to European football. He only does well in the domestic leagues and then also the domestic cups. But unfortunately, when it comes to Europe, he always flatters to deceive. But I am hoping he's going to write a new narrative in this season by at least getting to a quarterfinal, looking at the kind of players he's having in his team. Okay, so now we're going to look at the English Premier League. We're going to look at some of the games that are going to be played this weekend. We have some interesting games that are going to be played. We just touch on some of the games to look at how those games are going to end, and then we move on the discussion. All right, so first of all, we have Liverpool playing against Everton, and that is a Merseyside derby. Yes, derbies are very difficult regardless of the form of a team, regardless of the players a team has. Once it's a derby, the psyche of the players even changes. The psychology of the players even changes, because they know it's all about what you put on the pitch that's going to determine how you're going to perform. And in the past few seasons, the Merseyside derby hasn't really gone in favor of Everton. Yes, Liverpool have been edging it over Everton in the past few seasons. And if we look at records here, last season, Everton did win at home against Liverpool. That is 2-0. But that was when Liverpool, I'll say fairly, they had won the league and there was nothing to lose. So it's like they knew they had a grip on the league, and henceforth their form was even dipping. So that was understandable. But before that, Liverpool beat Everton at Anfield 2-0. You also have Liverpool beating Everton before that game again. So Liverpool fairly, in all, there have been 202 matches played between these two teams. That's so much history between these two teams. 202 matches played so far, with 82 wins in favor of Liverpool, 67 ending in draws, and then 53 ending in wins for Everton. So that is how it is in there. The history between these two teams is very is one to call for. And Liverpool so far, they have 100% record. They have won all their games this season. They haven't lost or even drawn a single game in this 2025-2026 Premier League season, as well as even in the Champions League. Everton, they have won 2 games. They have drawn 1 and then lost 1. So we're going to see how this game is going to end over there. Personally, I think Liverpool are going to win this game, but it might be by a slim margin. Looking at how Everton have been playing as well, they haven't been they haven't been consistent, but I think they are, David Moyes is doing a very good job at Everton lately with the likes of um, with the likes of Karen Drisby Hall and the new recruit from Manchester City. The name just escaped me. Yes, Jack Grealish. Yes, Jack Grealish. Then James Tarkowski at the back. Jordan Pickford, who is a very good shot stopper. I think they are doing also very well. They are sit on the table with 7 points from 4 games. They scored 5 goals and then conceded 3. So it's going to be a very close call, but I'm going to give it to Liverpool because I think they can edge it over them. Just that it's just going to be a very close call. So probably a 2-1 win for Everton. For Liverpool over Everton is going to do in that game because they are hungry for the league again. Anslot is coming in. I think he wants to win another title for Liverpool, and it's going to be a very interesting game. And it is an early kickoff in that game. We also have Brighton and Hove Albion playing against Tottenham Hotspur. So Tottenham Hotspur will be traveling to Brighton to face Brighton and Hove Albion, and that is a 10 o'clock kickoff in that game. Brighton and Hove Albion have they have had a shaky season so far. Yes, they have lost 2 games and then won 2 games. So it's here and there for them. And then whereas Tottenham Hotspurs have lost just 1 game. That was the game against Bournemouth at home, and then they have won 3 of their games. Just in midweek, they were involved in Champions League, a fixture. They were involved in a Champions League fixture, which they did win by a lone goal against Villarreal. This game, if you had to ask me, it should end in a draw. Yes, if you had to ask me, both teams are going to share the spoil in this game. There is Wolves against Leeds. Wolves are performing very badly from last season coming into this season. They haven't won a single game. They haven't even got a point from the start of this season. They have lost all 4 games, and Wolves, I think, will have to change the hierarchy. They'll have to change whoever is in charge of the team at the moment, because if they continue like this, they might probably end up being relegated. Last season they escaped relegation just by the skin, and if they are to continue like this, I'll not be surprised if they get relegated. I'll go for a win or a draw for Leeds in this game. So that's a double chance for Leeds United in this game because Wolves haven't been performing too good. They have some good players in there, the likes of Adama Traore, who doesn't have a very good end product. But if they really want to do well in this season, I think they will still have to change their manager. Yes, there's no 2 ways about that. They will have to change manager. And you have West Ham United playing against Crystal Palace. West Ham United too haven't been doing so good with Graham Potter being the manager in there. They have played 4 games so far, won just 1 and then lost 3 games. They have scored 4 and conceded 11. So far, they are the team that has conceded most goals. They have shipped in so much that the sink is the ship is sinking. Yes, and I think there's something that has to be done to that West Ham defense. They have to fix their defense. Graham Potter, I am hearing news about him being sacked and then probably bringing in Nuno Espirito Santo. So let's see how that's going to go over there. Crystal Palace, they have been doing good, as I said, from the end of last season into this season. Oliver Glasnach, who is being linked to Manchester United just in case Ruben Amorim is sacked. I am hearing names like Oliver Glasnach. He's performing very well with Crystal Palace, and I'm going to go for a win for Crystal Palace in this game against West Ham. And mind you, that is a London derby as well. So derbies sometimes, as I say, they do not go according to the form or the script. Sometimes it's the enthusiasm of the players on the field. That's what's going to determine the outcome of some of these games. And then there is a 12:30 kickoff. That is Manchester United at home at Old Trafford against Chelsea. Yes, my favorite team, the team I love, the team I support, the team I cherish. That is the Blues. Chelsea are facing Manchester United at Old Trafford, and Chelsea so far this season they have just lost one game, and that's the game they played against Bayern Munich. And it's understandable. Bayern Munich have been scoring goals for fun. They haven't lost a game this season, and they losing in that game. As I predicted, they were going to lose that game. So it's not so surprising. And if you look at the head-to-head between these two teams, 174 games played so far. We have 69 wins for Manchester United, 54 ending in draws, and then 51 wins for Chelsea. So overall, Manchester United has the edge over Chelsea. But in recent times, the last game that was played in the Premier League when both teams faced each other was ended in a draw where Manchester United scored first, and then Moises Caicedo scored that screamer in that game against Manchester United to get the equalizer, and that was in November last season. And then Chelsea won 4-3 against Manchester United at the Stamford Bridge, and that was a very interesting game. That was the game where Garnacho, I think he got a brace in that game, and it was close to the end of the game, and Manchester United thought they had won the game, only for Cole Palmer to come in with the goals in the dying embers, to get in a hat-trick and then winning the game for Chelsea in that game last season. Manchester United, before that game, had also won at Old Trafford 2-1 to Chelsea, beating Chelsea again in that season, the 2023 season, beating Chelsea 4-1 at Old Trafford. So in recent times, Manchester United has edged it over Chelsea. One thing I've realized is Manchester United haven't been performing too good. But the moment they face Chelsea, it's like, I don't know if they tell them in the dressing room they are going to increase their salaries, or there is like a motivating factor for them to go out there to beat Chelsea. And if you look at the previous episode that we shot, I did mention that when it comes to Ruben Amorim, he doesn't do too good with a small team. With the big, with the small teams. He is always getting beaten by the small teams, but when he's facing the big teams, it's like he has a point to prove and he wins those games. And I'm not going to be surprised if Manchester United wins this game, because Ruben Amorim has been given a limited time he has been given a number of games. He has to prove whether he will be kept with a job or not. And this game is part of one of those games that he has to prove whether he's the right man for the job or not. So I think they are going to go all guns out for Manchester United, and my heart wants Chelsea to win, but in my head, I think Manchester United will be going all out, just like they played against Burnley. Okay, they are going to be going all out just to prove a point, just to show that they are not, even though they have not been performing so good in recent times, they still have something in them. So I will go for a draw in this game. I think Chelsea is a very good team. They have been doing good. Enzo Maresca has been doing good with the team ever since he joined. Though I wasn't a fan of him before he joined, but he has been doing very exceptionally good with the team. And the way he varies his tactics, the way he tweaks his game plan from game to game is very good. But I think Manchester United is coming in like a dead horse. They have nothing to lose, and they will want to prove a point as well. So probably because of these two factors, the game is probably going to end in a draw. But I will want Chelsea to win the game. If Chelsea wins, I'll so much love it over there. So Manchester United, so far they are 14th on the league table, which is very bad with 4 points. Chelsea are 5th on the league table with 8 points. So let's see how that game is going to go. Even though I am rooting for Chelsea to win, I think this game, I'll call it out for a draw. Fulham playing against Brentford, and that's also another London derby. So Brentford, yes, they were able to get a draw at the GTEC Stadium against Chelsea the last time. That was last in the last round of games in the Premier League. This time around, they traveled to Fulham to face Chelsea. Fulham have been very good when they travel away, but this time around they are playing at home. So the last time both teams played, Fulham won 2-1 against Brentford. And then before that game, there was a draw between the two teams, but that was Thomas Frank's team. So let's see how things are going to go this time around. But I'm going to tip it. When you look on the league table, it's just 1 point that separates the two teams. Fulham are they are 11th on the table with 5 points, whereas Brentford are 12th on the table with 4 points. And I think Fulham are going to win this game simply because they are playing at home and they wouldn't want to disappoint their fans in this game. And then on Sunday, you have Bournemouth playing against Newcastle. Oh, that's going to be also an interesting game. So Bournemouth are playing at home, and they face Newcastle, who just played in the Champions League. I'll go for a straight win for Bournemouth simply because Newcastle played in midweek against Barcelona, which was a very difficult game. So the fatigue is going to set in. Yes, that's one thing. If you play in Europe, fatigue sets in because you keep on playing game after game after game, and there's no rest for your players, especially when you don't have two sets of teams like Chelsea did have last season, where they had two sets of teams, one playing in the Europa League, in the Conference League, and another playing in the Premier League. For most of the teams now, they don't have that. So the starting 11 that Eddie Howe started during midweek against Barcelona, that was just yesterday. I don't see any major difference in that starting 11 that's going to play against Bournemouth come this Sunday. So I think fatigue is going to set in, and that's what's going to make the difference for Bournemouth. Bournemouth, we all know, have been doing so good this season. They are fourth on the table. They have won 3 games and then lost just 1, and that loss was against Liverpool, and we all know Liverpool to be a very good team this season. So it's not surprising, and I'm going to pick Bournemouth to win this game over Newcastle over there. Okay, and what other games do we have? We do have in the Premier League, we have just a second. There is Sunderland playing against Aston Villa. Okay, so Sunderland just returned from the Championship, and they are facing Aston Villa. I'll go for a straight draw in this game. Sunderland, yes, they made some good purchases, the likes of Granit Xhaka and co. And they haven't been so bad. Yes, they haven't been so bad. On the table, they are... Where do we have Sunderland? So Sunderland are they are 7th on the table. They've won 2 games, drawn 1, and then lost 1. And they are facing Aston Villa, who haven't been doing so good this season. They have drawn 2 games and then lost 2. So I think Unai Emery has a lot of work on his hands to do, prepping his boys in this season. And then the big game on Sunday at 11:30 is Arsenal facing Man City. So Arteta going back to the Etihad to face his former boss, that is Pep Guardiola, and we see how that game is going to go. So in recent times, the last game they played last season was Man City drawing 2-2 at the Etihad to Arsenal, and before that there was a draw as well. So it's like the student is not ready to get beat by his teacher. Yes, that's what Arteta is trying to prove to his former boss. Yes, and in the past 190 games have been played between these two teams. 89 have ended in wins for Arsenal, 45 draws, and then 56 for Arsenal. Man City haven't been doing so good. Yes, as I said, they have been poor for quite some time now. Pep Guardiola, even though he has made some purchases, he has been struggling for quite some time now. And when you look at the league log, though you might argue in his favor, saying that it's just 4 games, but he's 8th on the table with just 6 points. So I'm going to root for Arsenal to win this game. Yes, I'm going to root for Arsenal to win this game. But what I see in this game is there are going to be lots of goals. Yes, I think the goals are going to flow. I'm not going to put it past Erling Haaland to score a goal at least in this game. Looking at the form he's in this season, scoring just for fun. So I'll go for an Arsenal win in that game. All right, so that is it for the Premier League, and then let's look at other leagues across Europe. We do have the German league, that's the Bundesliga. So we have Stuttgart playing against St. Pauli. We have Augsburg playing against Mainz 05 on Saturday. So Stuttgart is playing St. Pauli today, and that's at 2:30 in North America. You have Hamburg playing against Heidenheim. There's Bremen facing Freiburg. Hoffenheim playing against Bayern Munich, and there's just one result I see in this game. So Bayern Munich, for me, I think they should win this game. They are top of the table with 9 points, 3 games, and then 3 wins so far. Hoffenheim 3 games and they have 6 points. They've won 2 and then lost 1. They have scored 7 goals and conceded 6. Bayern has scored 14 goals. So Bayern do have a much prolific attack. They've scored double of the goals that Hoffenheim have scored and then conceded less. They've conceded just 2 goals. So I'll not put it past Bayern Munich to win against Hoffenheim over the weekend. And then there's Frankfurt, who also won in the Champions League over the weekend, playing against Union Berlin. I'm going to tip them to win against Union Berlin. Leverkusen, I think, is going to beat Borussia Mönchengladbach. And then Borussia Dortmund, the BVB boys, I think are also going to win against Wolfsburg in there. All right, so that's it for the German Bundesliga. And then let's look at that of the Spanish La Liga. We have Real Betis against Real Sociedad. There's Real Madrid playing against Espanyol. So Real Madrid are facing Espanyol. And 59 games played between the teams. These 2 teams so far. 44 has ended in wins for Real Madrid, whereas we have 6 draws and then 9 wins for Espanyol. So Real Madrid have a 100% record in the Champions League and then the league so far this season. Espanyol won some games and then lost in some games. So Espanyol have played 4 games and they have 10 points out of it. So far, Espanyol have only drawn 1 game, and that was the game where they traveled to Real Sociedad, and then they drew 2-2 to Real Sociedad. So Real Madrid, having won all their games this season, I'm going to root for them once again to win in this game. Xabi Alonso is doing a very good. He's on the low. He's doing his job quietly. He's not bragging about what he's doing. Even if you listen to his post-game interviews, you see he's really performing and he's just doing his job on the low. And that it seems he's trying to take pressure off his players. Yes, because Barcelona were winners last season, and all that he's trying to do is to lay low and then probably tip it over Barcelona, Hansi Flick and his men in the Spanish La Liga. All right, so we also have Villarreal playing against Osasuna. I think Villarreal are going to win that game. You have Alaves playing Sevilla, Valencia playing Athletic Bilbao. That's also going to be an interesting game. Valencia playing against Athletic Bilbao. Both teams, we have Athletic Bilbao sitting fifth on the league log, whereas Valencia are the 15th on the league log. With 4 games played, they have 4 points. They have just won 1 game and then drawn 1 as well, and then they have lost the remaining 2. Okay, on Sunday you have Real Vallecano playing against Celta Vigo. There is Mallorca playing against Atletico Madrid, who played in midweek. They haven't been performing too good in the La Liga this season. There is also Elche against Real Oviedo, and then Barcelona facing Getafe. Barcelona are facing Getafe in that game. And I think it's going to be route 1. Yes, Barcelona, even without Yamin Lamau, are winning against Newcastle in the Champions League. So I don't see how Getafe, even though they are 4th on the league. They have a very good run in the La Liga this season. They have played 4 games so far. They have lost just 1 and then won 3 in their last 4 games. So it should be a very interesting game. But at the end of the day, I think Barcelona are going to win in that game. Okay, and let's quickly delve into the Italian Serie A, that we call it a day for this episode. All right, so you have, let's look at some of the interesting games. Verona are going to play against Juventus, who drew in the Champions League in midweek. So Juventus are top of the table. No, sorry, Juventus are joint top of the table with Napoli. So Napoli is only on top because of the goal difference. They have scored 6 and conceded 1, whereas Juventus have scored 7 and then conceded 3 in the Italian Serie A. So Juventus have won all their games, and they are facing Verona, who have played 3 games and have just 2 points. That's meaning they have drawn 2 games so far this season and then lost 1. So Juventus, even though they are playing away, yes, there is a Champions League fatigue playing in the Champions League, but since they played in Italy, they didn't have to travel away, they didn't have to leave Italy. I think they are going to win against Verona. So in the last game they played in the Serie A, Juventus won 3-0 against Verona. So I'm going to call it for Juventus to win in this game against Verona. All right, and the next game in the Italian Serie A we look at is Udinese playing against International Milan. So Udinese is a team I used to love back in the day as well. They had some decent players, yes, maybe because of some Ghanaian players in there, the likes of Sule Ali Muntari. They also had Asamoah Gyan at a point. They had Kojo Asamoah and co. So yes, last season AC Milan beat Udinese 1-0 at the San Siro, and then they also won away to Udinese 3-2 before that game. So it seems in the past few games that have been played, AC Milan have been outperforming or outshining Udinese. So when you look at the head-to-head, 67 games have been played so far between these two teams. 18 wins in favor of Udinese, 17 in favor, 32 in favor of AC Milan, and then 17 ending in draws. So AC Milan won their last game against Bologna and then beating Leeds at home 2-0, and currently they sit on the 5th position in the Serie A. 3 games played so far, they have won 2 and then lost 1, with 4 goals scored and then 1 game ended in a lose. So they have made some new purchases in the person of Luka Modric, the experienced man in the midfield who scored a goal I think last week, as well as Nkunku. They have some former Chelsea players like Christian Pulisic, Tomori, and then Robin Loftus-Cheek, who have also been doing so good in recent times. So let's see how that game ends, but I'm going to root for Inter Milan to win against Udinese. And then there is also Lazio playing against AS Roma. AS Roma, in the last time the two teams met, they did beat Lazio 2-0, and even before that they beat Lazio again in the Serie A by 1-0. So you have Roma ahead in terms of the current league standings, where Roma sit on the 6th position. 3 games played, they have won 2 and then lost 1 with just 2 goals scored. That is very bad. Okay, and you have Lazio also sitting on the 12th position, and they have scored 4, conceded 3 with just 3 points. So these two teams haven't been doing so good lately. So I'm going to call for a draw in this game, because they haven't been decent in recent times. And there is also Fiorentina, a team that I love as well. It's like there are most teams in Italy. I do like them. Though I don't watch the Italian Serie A that much, but I have a spot for soft spot for most of the teams in the Italian Serie A, like Fiorentina, Udinese, and then AC Milan. All right, so there's Fiorentina playing against Sex Fabregas's Como, and Fiorentina are they are where they are. They are 16th on the league table. 3 games played so far with 2 points, meaning they have just 2 draws, and then they have lost one. You have Como, 3 games played so far with 3 goals scored, 2 conceded. They have won 1 game, drawn one, and then lost one, with sitting ninth on the league table. Okay, so and then finally, Napoli will be playing at home on Monday against Pisa, and Napoli have played 3, won all 3. They only lost in the Champions League to they did lose to to Manchester City during midweek, but I think they are going to bounce back. Antonio Conte, when it comes to um, domestic leagues, does so well, so I don't see him putting it past Pisa in that game. All right, so that has been a wrap up for today's episode on Ralph on VAR. Yes, and when this round of games are done, as you already know, we'll be back here to look at how the results went, whether the results went in favor of the team you support. So just drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know the team you support. Let me know which team you are rooting for, to win over this weekend. And then when we come back next time, we are going to discuss all these results, how they did go, how the performance of some of the players went, and then whether they met the expectation of their managers, and probably whose head is on the chopping box when we return next time. So this has been Ralph on VAR. Thank you so much for watching once again. All you have to do is to like this page, like this content as well, subscribe to this channel, share so that we can grow the community. As I always say, with the upcoming World Cup, the 2026 World Cup, we are going to visit some of the venues here in Canada. We are going to bring you live coverage. We are going to be taking snapshots from the stadium, and then around the stadium we will interact with some of the fans, and we might also even travel across the border, that's the US and then the Mexico, and also cover some of the games that are going to happen over there. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and then share so that we can grow the community. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you on the next episode.